It was family day at kindergarten. My husband Samuel made an excuse about work and told me and our daughter not to go either. Seeing the disappointment on my daughter Lily's little face, I couldn't bear it and decided to take her myself. As soon as we entered, I saw Samuel holding a little boy in one arm and holding hands with his childhood friend Rachel with the other. They looked just like a real family of three, laughing and having a great time. When Samuel saw me and Lily, he frowned slightly and let go of Rachel's hand. Quincy, don't misunderstand. Rachel is a single mom, and it's not easy for her. Today is her son's 5th birthday, and he just wanted to feel some fatherly love. I gave him a meaningful look, then crouched down and held my daughter's little hand. Sweetie, say hello to the uncle. Seeing this, Rachel quickly took her son from Samuel, looking apologetic. Quincy, please don't be angry. Samuel was just being kind. This child has grown up without a father, and today is his 5th birthday. Samuel was just helping fulfill a dream of having a father for a day. I stared at her with a half smile. If that's the case, now that Lily and I are here, shouldn't you return Samuel to us? After all, we're the real family of three. Rachel was taken aback, but her son in her arms wasn't having it. Dad, you promised to spend today with me and Mom. The 5-year-old glared at me fiercely. I raised an eyebrow. He's already calling him Dad? Before I could say anything else, Samuel stood in front of the mother and son, in a protective stance. His tone was impatient. Quincy, you're a parent too. Don't you have any empathy? Rachel and I grew up together. I'm just spending one day with them. Just one day. Do you have to make a big deal out of it? I laughed bitterly. Was Rachel's misfortune my fault? Just then, other parents started arriving with their children for family day. Someone came over to say hello. Good morning, Leo's mom and dad. Every family day, your family of three always comes together. Not like my husband, always saying he's busy with work and not caring about our child's growth. Rachel awkwardly returned the greeting, while a flash of panic crossed Samuel's eyes. I couldn't help but confront him. Samuel, is this what you meant by just one day? Samuel became angry and embarrassed, grabbing my arm. Quincy, there are a lot of people here. Don't make a scene. Then he looked down at our daughter and lowered his voice. It won't be good for Lily if this gets blown up. You know what I mean. Our daughter suddenly heard her name and looked around confused, but she still didn't understand what was going on. She just clung tightly to my leg, her little hand in mine now sweaty. I felt her unease and crouched down to stroke her little ponytail, saying softly, "Don't be afraid of anything when Mommy's here." I watched as Samuel walked away with Rachel and Leo. Soon they were surrounded by a crowd. Some people smiled ingratiatingly as they greeted Samuel. They praised him for his career success, becoming the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company at just over 30 years old. Samuel was arrogant and smug, his tail practically in the air. Rachel stared at Samuel with shining eyes, looking proud to be associated with him. Leo, still in Samuel's arms, suddenly turned back to glance at me and made a taunting face. I couldn't help but laugh coldly inside. Looks like Samuel has gotten cocky. Although I reduced my time at the company due to pregnancy and childbirth, 75% of Flying Group's shares were in my hands. I was the real leader. He just latched onto my coattails, and out of consideration for our marriage, I gave him the title of manager. I opened my phone and messaged HR, John, remove Samuel from the manager position, announce it internally next Monday. Then I messaged the legal department, Luke, draft a divorce agreement between Samuel and me. Oh Samuel, if you want to live off me, you should see if I allow it first. Soon after, the family day activities officially began. Each family sat at a pre-prepared table. Lily looked at Samuel sitting in the row in front of us and asked dejectedly, "Mommy, why isn't Daddy sitting with us?" I pinched my daughter's chubby cheek. She was still so young and shouldn't be involved in this mess. Because Mommy is a superhero. To be fair, Daddy went to help other kids. Just then, the kindergarten teacher announced the start of the first activity, building with blocks. She smiled and said, "There's a prize for first place, a Lego spaceship." Lily suddenly got excited and pointed at the spaceship. "Mommy, I want it." "Okay, let's do our best." As the sand timer was about to run out, Lily raised her little hand and shouted excitedly, "Teacher, we're done." The teacher came over and nodded, about to announce the winner when suddenly a little boy ran over from the row in front. It was Leo. He pushed over the blocks we had built and said arrogantly, "Now first place is mine." Lily looked at the collapsed blocks, her eyes instantly brimming with tears. Angrily she picked up a large wooden block and threw it at Leo. Samuel came over and his first words were, "Lily, how could you hit someone? Apologize to Leo right now." Lily became stubborn. "No, he pushed over my blocks first. He's the bad guy." I stood firmly behind my daughter. "Samuel, anyone can see who started this. Leo should be the one apologizing to Lily." Rachel also came over and tugged on Samuel's arm. "Samuel, let's just drop it. We shouldn't hold it against children." The kindergarten teacher also tried to smooth things over, but just then, Lily suddenly burst into tears. "Daddy, why aren't you protecting me? Why are you scolding me?" This cry of Daddy instantly stunned everyone. Their gazes flickered between me, Samuel and Rachel. Samuel's face flushed red and white, while Rachel looked like she wanted to say something but held back. At this moment, Leo put his hands on his hips and stood in front of Lily, snarling, "Who's your daddy? Don't call him that." This is my dad." My daughter was so frightened she started hiccuping. She cried out with her little voice breaking, "Daddy, say something." My heart ached terribly. I glared fiercely at Samuel, my voice much harsher. "Samuel, aren't you going to explain? Are you going to let us be misunderstood?" Samuel's eyes widened. He picked up Leo. "What is there to explain? Today I'm Leo's dad." He even patted Leo's head. In an instant, the other parents started pointing and whispering about me and my daughter. Why is this child randomly calling someone dad? I don't think Lily's family has ever attended family day before. This time only her mom came. Do you think she might be someone's mistress? I heard this Samuel is the CEO of a big company, super rich. Maybe Lily's mom is trying to seduce Samuel and was caught by her own daughter. While my daughter and I were being attacked by rumors, Samuel across from us said nothing, just comforting Leo. Rachel stood to the side, suppressing a smile as she glanced at me. I hugged my daughter who was crying uncontrollably, and gently patted her back. Although I wanted to slap that scumbag and his mistress, it wasn't the right time. I couldn't let my daughter get hurt anymore. Just then, someone trying to suck up to Samuel said fawningly, "The young master looks so much like Mr. Brown. You can tell they're father and son at a glance." I glanced up at Samuel. A flash of guilt crossed his eyes before he laughed it off, while Rachel looked absolutely radiant. I had seen this mother and son before. How come I never noticed the resemblance between Samuel and Leo? Meanwhile, Lily wouldn't stop crying. I had to ask the teacher to take us to the rest area so I could calm my daughter down first. In the rest area, I comforted Lily until she gradually fell asleep. Looking at her swollen eyelids from crying, my heart twisted into a knot. I tiptoed out and walked to the corner of the hallway to call HR and legal. "John, Luke, bring Mai and Samuel's marriage certificate and the draft divorce agreement, along with the company dismissal letter to Happy Baby Kindergarten right now. Hurry." As I continued discussing details with them, I suddenly heard a scream. It was my daughter's voice. My heart instantly sank to the bottom. At the end of the hallway, by the bathroom door, Lily had been pushed to the ground and was sobbing. The one leading the attack on her was Leo, with a fierce look on his face. "This is for calling my dad your dad. I'll beat you to death today." With that, he kicked Lily in the stomach. Lily wailed in pain and tried to escape, but was caught by the boys behind him. Children of mistresses deserve to be beaten. My mom said bastards like you should be killed at birth. Lily waved her little hands to fight back, crying so hard she could barely breathe. "You're lying. That is my daddy. Daddy, mommy, come save Lily. Lily hurts so much. Daddy, mommy, where are you?" The moment I saw this, there was a huge roar in my brain. My blood surged and every blood vessel in my body felt like it would explode. When those little boys saw me, they looked at each other, and seeing my fierce expression, they fled like scared birds and beasts. I held Lily in my arms and realized she was shaking terribly. I quickly called an ambulance. "Don't be afraid, baby. Mommy's here. Mommy's here." When the ambulance arrived, the other parents were curious about what had happened. I ran towards the ambulance carrying my daughter. As I passed by, Samuel was smiling and building blocks with Leo, while Rachel was wiping sweat from Samuel's brow. When he heard the commotion, he looked up with a confused expression. As he started to come over and ask, "What's going on? What happened to Lily?" Rachel grabbed his hand. "Samuel, you promised to spend the whole day with Leo today. You don't know how happy Leo was when I told him last night that you could be with him all day." Samuel's footsteps halted as I got into the ambulance with Lily. Lily had already passed out. The doctors started examining and treating her in the ambulance. When a female doctor lifted Lily's dress, she couldn't help but exclaim, "How could anyone be so cruel to such a small child?" I instantly burst into tears, panicking terribly. My baby's milk-white skin was covered in blue and purple bruises, with a fist-sized bruise on her side. Her body was trembling uncontrollably. The doctor's tone suddenly became urgent. "Quick, hook her up to the machines." After Lily was rescued, 2 hours had passed. Those 2 hours felt like years. Regret and hatred intertwined in my heart, growing vigorously and raging through my body. My mother cried as she scolded me. "How could you let this happen to the child? What terrible suffering she's been through." Lily weakly opened her eyes on the hospital bed with an IV drip. She looked at me in confusion. "Mommy, why did they all say Lily is a child that Daddy doesn't want? But Lily has a daddy. Why doesn't Daddy protect Lily anymore?" I gently kissed her forehead and told her, "Mommy will protect Lily forever and ever. Lily is Mommy's most beloved treasure. As for Daddy, we don't want him anymore." When I returned to the kindergarten, the family day activities were in their final event. Families were drawing pictures together. Samuel was patiently coloring a picture. Leo nestled quietly in his arms, while Rachel looked content as she took photos of the two of them. It was truly a picture of domestic bliss and family happiness. But why was my daughter lying in the hospital while the wrongdoers were enjoying this happiness? I rushed over and without a word, slapped Rachel hard across the face.